Hey, Engraver here. Welcome back to my channel. No video today for my coffee break commentary. I've been having to muster a lot of energy and strength and even my voice. My voice may be dropping out in this video because of this huge transition from teaching students in the physical space to online. And in the process, doing this 6 days a week, it's put a huge strain on my voice. So I didn't really, actually, to be honest with you, didn't really have the energy to put up a camera and light and all of that. But I'm just getting in the routine, and that's actually what I wanted to talk to you about. If you're going through a huge change with your schedule or your way of doing things, your way of making a living, or maybe you have been laid off or let go. And if you have, please leave that in the comments below. You don't have to, write any details about it, but just let me know if I can pray for you or your family. I'd like to pray for you on that. So for me, even though I have the same job, it's been a major transition. And my mom actually was wise to say this, and I'm glad she did say this to me. She said that I have to treat it like it's a new job, it's a new line of work, because this is a major change going from a physical space to working strictly from home. And with that, I've learned to give myself a little bit of grace, a little bit of flexibility. I've given myself a week to get back into the routine. And really, it's looking like 2 to 3 weeks before I can really fully get into the right headspace for doing work like composing music or writing or being on SuperCollider. I miss SuperCollider. I haven't been on it for about a week. It was about 5 full days, 5 to 6 days not composing. So yeah, major adjustment. And I'm used to change. I'm a person who can, if needed, if called to, I'll move to a different city. I'll move to a different state. And I have no problem with change. I've never really had a problem with change. But even so, in these crazy times we're in, it's been hard on me. So I can't even imagine how it's been for some family or any of you who may have a harder time with change. Now, however long it takes, whether it's 1 week, 2 weeks, maybe even a month, however long it takes to get back into that routine, I do strongly suggest that you make the effort. You may even need a new routine. For me, I've been going to bed earlier. I've been taking walks a lot more frequently. I've been reading scriptures and reading nonfiction a lot longer, giving myself even a couple hours with that because I spend so much time on the screen. So it may be that. It may be you trying out a new thing or a completely new routine, but the point is you have to get back into a routine of some sort, and here's why. You have to be producing art. You have to be working. You have to be moving. You have to be doing the things you otherwise would do if there was no pandemic. And on the pandemic, I want to stress that I plan on making this the one and only video regarding this pandemic, simply because I want to talk about art. I don't want to talk about this. I want to talk about art. I want to talk about music. I want to talk about making music. I want to talk about making art and giving you tips on what to do as artists, what to consider as artists. I think we have more than enough information regarding this pandemic. And it's not that I'm not being cautious. It's not that I'm not taking preemptive measures and planning. It's not because I'm avoiding it or I'm denying that it's existing, but we can't deny that we are facing an overwhelming amount of information that can be facts but can also be speculative, and everyone has their say. And so I'm just another voice in this ocean of information. But there are things to consider about this. The first is, as I mentioned before, getting back into the routine and getting back as quickly as possible, as effectively as possible, getting back to producing your art. There are reasons for this. The first reason, and I think the most pressing reason at this time, is that we shouldn't be dwelling on this. We should not be dwelling on this pandemic. We need to be cautious, yes. We need to take preemptive measures. We need to be caring and considerate toward other people. We need to be lending a helping hand in our communities, maybe in our church communities or just our local communities. Yes, we need to consider all this, but that is not the same. None of that's the same as dwelling on this. So that's the first reason why you should be producing your art, why you should be getting back into the routine. Producing your art is going to help you avoid dwelling on this. Dwelling on it is not a good thing. It's not a healthy thing. It's not healthy for us. It is healthy for us to continue working, to continue moving, to continue producing things of value. In fact, we're going to need it more than ever in these times because your art, this is getting into the second reason, your art, just producing value to the world, producing meaning to the world, to people, will be enough. It is enough to be building morale. So produce your art, create, make someone's day. And even if they don't acknowledge your art, they will appreciate you producing something meaningful because that's what people are going to look toward these days. We call these times uncertain times, but I actually think we are in it for the long haul. I think we are heading to an economic downturn. And I don't say this with any cynicism. We do need to be cautious. We do need to be careful and plan ahead. But we are in for some challenging times. We are in for some hard times. And I think we can overcome in due time. And I actually think this will be a good learning process for all of us here as we will be impacted in the future. But more than ever, you producing your art, you providing value and meaning to society, that will actually build morale. Even on the small scale, even if it just encourages one person, be that encouragement, be that light. Keep producing that art. So to recapitulate, you got to get back into the routine as quickly and as effectively as you can, as you possibly can, because you have to be producing art. Producing art will help you avoid dwelling on this pandemic and also on the hardships that are to come. And producing art will also provide meaning to others. Now, I will say, on producing art, I've been seeing this trend. This trend I'm seeing is daily posts of people producing art in their time of isolation. There are parts in the world where they are on lockdown, unfortunately, and they can't go outside their homes apart from doing necessary things like going to the store for food and supplies. And so I'm seeing these daily posts of people producing music and sound designs and portraits of different things in visual art in their time of isolation. Now, I will say that these works of art have been presented with something headed with a title like Day 5 of Isolation. I've even seen a retweet of an album called Blueprints of a Pandemic. And yeah, granted the art cover was cool, but I didn't click on it. And I wanted to say, this is just an opinion. This is just what I prefer or don't prefer. If your art is related in any way to the pandemic, I'm actually disinclined to review it. Now, this could be just me. This could be me just not needing the reminder. I mean, in a world where we are bombarded with so much information on this pandemic, I almost want the art to be separate from it. Now, that's not to say that artists shouldn't produce art in this time, how it's impacting them, a day of isolation or a month of isolation. That's a really good time for creativity, but it's also a good time to produce a piece of art for this time period so you can show it to your kids and your grandkids, and they can say decades later, wow, yeah, you produced this, you made this in this time, huh, Grandpa, or whoever you come to be in the future. So there is room for that, but I don't think it should be incessant, and I don't think it should be ongoing. I think we artists should consider doing work we would otherwise be doing if there was no pandemic. Doing art that really does provide meaning. I'm not saying there isn't any meaning to producing art in this time where we will be impacted by this, but I would just say do the art you've been doing. I think that's really going to be encouraging and inspiring to other people, other artists, and also other parts of the community. So I guess what I'm saying is do something that will help people take their mind off of this. We want to think of morale. We want to build people up. We want to strengthen people. We're designed to do this as human beings. We're designed to help people out. And this constant reminder, and maybe I'm just recording this because we're in the midst of this, we're in the middle of this, but this constant reminder of what we're facing is actually unnecessary. People think, no, we got to know about this and we got to experience this and all this. Yes, to a point, but not all the time. We need movies now. We need books. We need all sorts of art to get our minds off of this. As I said before, it does no good to dwell on this. A wise man named Jesus Christ talked about not worrying because it doesn't do anything to add to our stature. It doesn't do anything to add to our well-being by worrying. Dwelling is worrying. I will say that I am composing a fiddle piece related to these times ahead, but nothing more than that. It doesn't need to be incessant. It doesn't need to be frequent. We don't need to be bombarded with this reminder, this constant reminder of what we are facing. We already know. And we're already planning ahead. We're already taking preemptive measures. We know what to do. But it would help. It would help helping people take their mind off of this at least every once in a while, even if it's just 5 minutes a day. They need that. We need to help people. We as artists need to help people. And this is the necessity of producing art in these uncertain times. Thank you for always watching and listening. Always be on the lookout for some more sound experimentation every Thursday, some more commentary on art on Tuesdays starting next week. And I hope you guys are taking care of yourselves and staying healthy. And I wish you the best in these times ahead. Thanks again.